Welcome everyone to my channel. If you haven't been here before, pull up a seat, sit down. We are going to talk about New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. I did not update you guys at all on this. I apologize. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Now you're probably wondering what this is. This is because I hurt my wrist. Woke up 2 days ago with it hurting. Don't know why. Went to the doctor's yesterday. And I got like this little area that's swollen right on the edge of my thing down here at the bottom of my wrist is, and bending my wrist back and forth, touching it hurts, and it's irritating. But anyways, this is on here until the doctor says otherwise, because I went to the doctor's yesterday. And he thinks that it could be something less serious, but we don't know. If I still have pain by the time next week, for me, guys, happens, then I'll have to go to the doctor's and get x-rays done. But enough about that. Let's talk about this, which I did not update you all, and I read the whole thing. You want a brief summary? I can give you a brief summary, but let's read the back of the book first. No, we're only back in the book. Let's not do that. Okay. For Bella Swan, there is one thing more important than life itself, Edward Cullen. But being in love with a vampire is even more dangerous than Bella ever could have imagined. Edward has already rescued Bella from the clutches of one evil vampire, but now, as their daring relationship threatens all that is near and dear to them, they realize their troubles may just be beginning. Anyways, Bella's 17th birthday comes up. 18th birthday comes up. So she's finally technically a year older than Edward. Edward has lived for 117 years now. But she's 18 and he's immortally 17, and she does not fucking love it at all. She wants no presents, no birthday party, no nothing to celebrate it. So Alice gets it in her head to have a birthday party to celebrate her birthday, because, they don't normally have birthday parties because they're mortal. They don't really fucking care about birthdays or anything like that. Right? Right? So, yeah, she goes to Cullen's to celebrate the birthday. She gets a new stereo put in. She gets a new CD that's got Bella's Lullaby on it. She gets a bunch of cool cameras and gifts and all this kind of stuff that she didn't really want. And when she's opening up a present, she cuts her finger. And Jesper loses it. And they throw her into a glass table, which breaks. Yeah. So everybody leaves the room besides Carlisle, who's pulling out glass out of her arms and everything like that. So Edward brings her home. He sticks with Edward. She sticks with him for a while. Well, he sticks with her for a while, and then they leave. And then she notices something is happening, and then they're gone. And Edward sits there and says, "Yeah, we're leaving. We've already left. Everybody's already left home. I'm the last one here. I stayed here to let you know that we're leaving, so that way you can live a normal human life." And he leaves her in the forest, in a clearing, and just says, "I'm not coming back, because I don't love you." And she just goes, several months, she's just there. And then she finally comes around to it when her father's packing up her bags to send her off. So she finally starts doing normal human things. And then she starts hanging out with Jacob. Now the thing is that she's also not doing normal things. She realizes that when she gets in danger, she can hear Edward, like as if Edward's there in front of her, talking to her, speaking to her. And she sits there and does more and more daring things to get him to talk, more and more dangerous things to talk to her, so she can hear his voice. And motorcycles that Jacob fixes up. And starts riding them. Dangerous things like that keep accumulating and everything. Basically, Jacob talks about how there's a gang in La Push. He don't like them because Sammy's in charge of it. And then there's Paul and Jared, and they're all staring at him like they're waiting on him. And then Emery goes over. He's only got Quill left with him. And they're somehow it's weird how they do weird things, and he doesn't like it, and he's afraid of it. And then one day, Jacob stops talking to her. Sick. And then he's out doing things, always out doing this with them, and always being out with Sam, and it makes her really worried. And then he's like, I can't tell you. You have to guess. It'd be so much easier if you guess. You remember all the stories I told you back when we first met. You gotta guess. And then she pieces it together. Werewolves. Jacob's a werewolf. He can shift into a wolf. And that's what Sam and Jared and Paul and Emery are, and they're waiting on Quill to become part of it too. And that Sam's technically the leader and everything. You have to obey him, and that when they go into wolf form, everything is transmitted through their thoughts, so there's no secret left behind. And then she runs into, before she figures out Jacob's a werewolf, she runs into Laurent, and Laurent tries to kill her, and the wolves actually attack and chase him away, and they kill him. So they're out chasing after Victoria because she's scouting around, and Jacob and Sam and them are all doing that. Now, she learns that they can't control their temper when they first turn, and that they can do terrible, terrible things, because Sam's girlfriend is like, because of it. So she's got like claw marks all over her face because of it, but he still loves her, still treats her wonderfully. And when Jacob brings her along to a meeting that he calls for them because of information, well, they get a little tiff and tat. Paul goes crazy, shifts and transforms, and Jacob just seamlessly fights him off. Now, Jacob won the fight. Paul didn't. Paul's better. Jacob's better at everything. Transforming and fighting and everything. He's more natural at it. He can do it much faster, better. He's stronger than Paul, who's been doing it for months before him. Jacob says that Bella has information about the female that they've been chasing after. And that's when they all learn that Victoria's around trying to kill Bella. So now they know that, they were going to leave holes in their patrols to see if they couldn't catch her off guard. And while they're going to do that one day, Bella goes up and jumps off from a cliff for this extreme cliff diving thing that the La Push kids do, that Jacob promised to take her out on. Of course, the water current turns into like a big ass storm, so it drags her under, but Jacob dives in and pulls her out. Now, Alice saw it, told Rosalie about it, and she was going to go back to town to see what was going on. When she arrived at the wrong fucking time because Charlie was out at a funeral. Well, Charlie was getting ready for a funeral and everything, because Charlie's friend Harry Clearwater died, leaving behind his children, Leah and Chris, I think it is. Anyways, so yeah, there's that. Nothing really big or important or even world-changing happens in this book. Because when Alice comes back, she sees Bella's alive. She stays. Then the next day she leaves, and Jacob comes to check up on her. And Edward calls, and he answers it. And he tells Edward, he doesn't think it's Edward, he's like, it was Carlisle, that Charlie's at a funeral. And then hung up. So yeah, let's see, where am I at in this? Right. So Alice sees that Edward's going to go kill himself in Italy with the Voltaire. So Alice and Bella, they go to Italy to stop him. And that's where all the real shit happens. you learn about the Italian vampires, Ero, Canis, Marcus, about Jane and Alec and their abilities and powers. She literally goes and stops him from going out into the street in the middle of high noon to show himself off. And then they're told that Bella needs to become a vampire sooner or later, or else the Voltaire would kill him off. They all get to leave. Yay! So they get home. Bella's grounded, but she convinces her dad to allow Edward around slightly. And all that stuff. Yeah. So she drags Edward back to his home to put her to vote about her being human, because he wants to refuse and just allow her to age and die, and then he would just go ahead and kill himself afterwards. She didn't want that. So they put it to a vote. All but Edward and Rosalie don't want her to become a vampire, but majority rules. So she wants Alice to do it, but I was like, I'm not ready. I don't think I can do it without killing you. She's like, okay, Charlie, you do it. And he's like, why don't you wait until graduation from high school and you move out of Charlie's house? She's like, okay, fine. And then she's trying to get Edward to do it, but Edward's like, nope, 2 years, 3 years. And she's like, 18 months, and that's all you get to make a deal for him to turn her. And then he's like, fine, get married to me, and then I'll turn you. So, there's that, yeah. Jacob's no longer her friend, technically, because vampires and werewolves don't get along. Jacob shows up, drops off a motorcycle, gets Bella even into more trouble with her father, with the intent to get him to be grounded from never seeing Edward. That's what he really wanted. But Jacob also was there to remind them that it was the bite, not killing, that was their treaty. Which meant, biting Bella to turn her into a vampire would break the treaty. Yeah, so there's that. Jacob and Bella are at odds. Edward and the Cullens are back. Yay. That's literally all of it. It was a setup for Jacob. That's what this book was about. The book was about introducing what Jacob and the Quillet boys were. They're werewolves. In this, they're werewolves. Technically, they're shapeshifters, because werewolves can only transform into a wolf form the full fucking moon, and Jacob can do it whenever the hell he wants to, or when he gets really fucking angry. That's two different things, but hey, they want to use their words in their own way, I guess. But that's really all there was to it. My favorite character in this would have to be Alice, because she's just hopeful. And you actually get to learn that Alice was put into an asylum because she saw visions, and that she has a sister, and she's still alive. Her her niece is still alive. She couldn't find nothing else about her parents or why she was put in, but she did find that the day that she was entered into the asylum is also the day that they say she died. So, yeah. But Alice is such a sweetheart. My most disliked character in this. I'd have to say it would be Edward, because even though Edward has a valid reason to leave her, because he doesn't want to harm her, doesn't want to end her mortal life, he still just ups and ditches her and doesn't even think about her. He just thinks about himself. And that's really sad. You're not thinking about all angles. You're not thinking about just yourself. You're just thinking about yourself. You're not just thinking about other people's and their thoughts and feelings in the matter. I mean, then again, Bella's not really thinking about Edward's thoughts and feelings in the matter. They're both at a crisscross. Bella wants to live for eternity with him, and he just wants her to live. That's literally it. What stood out as memorable? There's hints in this book about what's going to happen later on in the series. A lot of hints and everything. Like, you learn that Edward is a terrible tracker because he was trying to track Victoria and lost her and went the wrong way. But you also learn a little bit more about the werewolves in this one, but you don't learn as nearly as much as you do in the third and the fourth book. But Jacob hints that his grandfather and great-grandfather were all leaders of the Quilliton tribe. His grandfather, Euphemia Black, he could turn into a wolf. He was the last known wolf turner of the clan, but he was also the leader. So it's hinting at the fact that technically, maybe, possibly, if you haven't read the books or seen the movies, you don't know, then this might be a little spoilerish for you, but that's what you're here for, spoilerish shit. Jacob Black is supposed to be the alpha of the pack. That's why Sam looks at him weird, even now as he's part of the pack. Sam is still looking at him weird. I don't know why Jacob Black doesn't pick up the fact that Sam thinks that, hey, look, you're supposed to be the alpha. I'm waiting for you to grow into your alpha abilities, be your alpha, to become the alpha, the leader of the pack, and all this shit. But Sam's been leading the pack for a little while, since the Cullens. Whenever the Cullens are around, that's when they turn into wolves. Start turning into wolves, that's when they're around. So, yeah, it's there. It's literally all in there. Passage. So, that, when I found my favorite passage. So, here it is. There was no quote. There never had been a cult. Never been a gang. No, it was much worse than that. It was a pack. A pack of 5 mind-blowing, gigantic, multi-hued werewolves that had stalked right past me in Edward's meadow. Yeah. So, my favorite quote. They have a name for someone who smells the way Bella does to me. They call her my singer, because her blood sings for me. La tua cantante. There you go. What did I think about the ending of the book? Well, Edward's back, so yay, Bella gets her Edward. Because obviously I'm Team Edward. Want to live immortal life. But yes, Edward's back. I hate that Jacob just doesn't believe that he can be friends with Bella while Bella's dating a vampire. Ridiculous in my books if you think about it. What book did it remind me of? Maybe the Midnight Breed series, which is basically about vampires, but they're not aliens. They're just naturally born vampires in this universe. So, not exactly like that, but that's as close as you're going to get it with the powers and everything that they can do. Thanks to their Altaian blood, but in this one it's just the vampires. Some vampires are born with abilities and some aren't. When they become vampires, when they're made into vampires. Some of them have abilities and some of them don't. This book is part of a series. It's called Twilight. The series is called Twilight, based off the name of the first book. There's actually 5 in these. Well, 6 books, technically. There's 5 main books. Well, 4. Okay. There's 4 main books in the series. But there's also Midnight Sun, which is basically the rewriting of Twilight and New Moon all smashed together with Edward's point of view only. So we get to see a lot more, and it's a lot more expansive than anything else. But there's also a very short book called The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, which is a novella based between the second and third book, which will be the next one I'll pick up after this when we continue this series. So, there you go. I rated this a 3.5. My main pickiness: vampires don't sparkle. Werewolves only shift on the full moon, so it has to be a shapeshifter. And shapeshifters can only shapeshift into one form unless they're like a multi-shapeshifter. But why can't you just say they're humans that turn into wolves? Just shapeshifting wolves, humans, into wolves. Not werewolves. That's my only stickler point. The whole thing. Because I read in a book back when I was in middle school, high school, 7th grade, 8th grade. No, 9th grade, something like that. I don't know. A long time ago, okay? That the very first werewolves were just people who were naked and ran around in a circle howling at the moon while peeing. And they couldn't even transform into wolves. But that, at the full moon, howling, that's it. That's all there is to it. I don't care about nothing else, okay? That's it. So, okay. I just realized as I was editing this that I totally said the wrong ending. So, here's what we're going to do. If you think I deserve a like, comment, and a lovely subscription, go ahead and drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.